Welcome back, guys. Our map is really coming along. It's really taking shape. I've just spent the last 2 hours, would you believe, working on the map, working on the river. I pulled in a more detailed section of the river from Google Maps, and I've been working on refining it and getting the course of the river like absolutely bang on. I've done a tiny bit of widening and made it consistent. Then I've done something which you might want to do, you might not. It kind of depends how fiddly you really want to be. The difference in height from this end of the river to this end of the river is actually nothing. There is no difference in height along the whole length of the river at the riverbanks. So what I did was I took a point over here. I think I actually took a point about here. Used the level tool. Where's the level tool? Here's the level tool. Right-clicked. I used a very small brush, like about, yeah, probably a little bit bigger than that. Probably about that big, right? So yeah, probably around, I think it was probably around 200. And then right-clicked to get a level, right? And then I went along the riverbank, like the whole length of the river, so that the height at the riverbank is exactly the same all along the river, on both sides. That took a little while, let me tell you. Then I did a whole bunch of smoothing to get the map nice and smooth. The only places where it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy are over here. Now this is Kingston, and this is Kingston Hill, and I kind of want that to be a hill. And then over here, this is like the biggest hill in London. We'll talk about that later. And then it's kind of lumpy and bumpy over here where it starts to get into this area, which is kind of lumpy and bumpy anyway. Then what did I do? Well, okay, let me show you. Let me show you. If we look at the banks of the river, then you'll see that the banks of the river are kind of nicely smoothed. And I wanted to show you this. So what I did, I took the smoothing tool and I set the brush strength down to like 0.04, 0.05, that kind of level. So a very low softening, and then a brush strength of about 500-ish. So that it, yeah, a bit bigger than that actually. Thinking about it, must be, yeah, about that big. So that it covers both sides of the riverbank, and then just went over just very gently, and you can see you get this kind of nice softened edge. And that works really, really well, I've found, after a bit of experimentation. So that's what I've been spending the last 2 hours on. God, I'm so fussy about these things, aren't I? But I tell you what, I tell you guys, this is a game. This is a game on its own, just creating these blooming maps. You can have such fun with this. If it's your thing, if it's the kind of thing that you're into, and I really am into this kind of thing, then yeah, it's awesome sauce. Love it. Right, now we're going to talk about water. Oh, and believe me, guys, this is fun. Right, let's drop down the map so that we can kind of barely see it. Let's get it just like, there we go. That's like one click just above the bottom. Then we're going to go all the way over here. And we're going to start putting in water. You're going to love this. Now, the first thing is sea level. Let's deal with sea level first. Now, this kind of depends on the exact map that you're using and whether you're near the sea or not near the sea or whatever. Now, this is a tidal estuary. The river level rises and falls, which is why somewhere over, I don't know, I think it's around here. Yeah, it's around here, this area. We've got the Thames Barrier, which is actually literally a barrier across the river to stop the seawater flooding in and flooding London, which it would do at high tides. So there you go. So what we're going to do, we're going to set the sea level to probably like 1, and as somebody pointed out in the comments, and I should have shown you this, you can actually set these numbers. You can just type these numbers in if you want. So if we set this to 1, right, you'll see that we get the tiniest little bit of water, like along pretty much most of the map. Just the tiniest bit. And that will actually help a tiny bit when we put the real water in. But like if you were doing this at the coast, you'd want this higher. You'd want this probably around 40 meters. So, but I'm going to have, for this one, just about 1 meter will be fine. Now we'll start putting in some fresh water. Oh yeah. Now, first thing, this is kind of important. Water will flow to the edge of the map and flow off the edge of the map, right? So if we put in a water spawner over here, half the water is going to disappear off the edge of the map, and that's not going to be a good thing. So the first thing you want to do is you want to block off this end of the map. Now, when you're actually playing, you won't be able to see this, right? Because you can't quite see the edge of the map. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over here, go to our terrain tools. I'm going to take the level tool, right? And then I want a very small brush. Yep, that's perfect. And we can crank up the brush strength, although the brush strength doesn't actually really matter too much. Then we'll right click on this side and then left click and hold, and I just want to bring this along here like that. Now you can see it's barely up to the edge of the map, barely, right? And that's going to be perfect. It's going to provide a dam to keep the water on our side flowing this way rather than disappearing off the map. But we should just get the water kind of at that level, so it should just be perfect. But we'll see. Right, let's go back to water. This is where it gets fun. Now, water spawners. You can set the capacity of the water spawner, and this just affects how much water it produces per second. Okay, and at this end, we want it to be producing a fair amount. So I'm actually going to crank this up to like probably 60. Okay, and then I'm going to put a water spawner in. I'm actually going to put it in a little bit away from the edge to give it a little bit of room. So, and you know what? I might put it in. I might put it in there actually, because if you notice, it's a tiny bit narrower there. I'm going to put it in kind of at the widest point. So we're going to put a water spawner in there, and you can see now the level that it's set at, and you can adjust the level up and down. And if I move over here, you just use the handle to adjust the water level. You right click to place it, left click to place it, right click to remove it. So if I wanted to take it out, just right click it and it goes away. Cool, right. Let's get rid of this so we can actually see the water better. And as you can see, the water's going to come up and it's going to flood over the edges and it's going to take a while to settle down. So let's crank this up to accelerate time and see how this behaves. Right? Now, the water spawners act as both a water source and as drains. So not only do they produce water, but they'll also take water away, right? And they do this up to the level that you've set. Okay. So how are we doing? We're starting to settle down. We've got some water here, but we'll see if that goes away. I think it should go away, given a little bit of time, but we'll see. If it doesn't, we might have to elevate this terrain slightly just to get rid of those. But you can see how this, when you're over actually in your playable area, right? So you're over here, you're not even going to be able to see any difference. It just looks like it's going off the edge of the map. Cool. Now, this is going to take a while to fill in. So while that's doing that, we're going to pop some of the water spawners in, right? Now, I'm going to drop this down to like, 50% probably. There or thereabouts. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to drop this down a little bit. No, I'm going to keep them at 50. And we'll pop one in there to fill that up. And then we're going to pop one in here to fill that up. And one here to fill that up. Cool. Now, these ones, right? I mean, yeah, I could put a water spawner in this one probably. That would probably be okay. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to dig a little channel into this one and into this one. And it's pretty obvious. See how the river is flowing into this one? We're going to have to do something about the bank on this side. Okay. So, right, let's do it. So we'll take the smallest, well, pretty much the smallest brush, which is 50. And then we're just we can crank the brush strength up a little bit. And I've got, yeah. And all I need to do is just right click and just cut a little path. Like, where should I put it? Should I put it through the middle? We can have a little bridge. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll just cut a little bridge through there, and then the water will flow into there and fill this one up. Cool. Right, now this one over here, we're going to need to do something about, no question. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my level tool, and I'm going to use the smallest brush, and strength doesn't matter, and I'm going to take a level. Now you can see that this is overflowing at the moment. Yeah, so I think we're going to have to reduce the strength on that one because it's producing too much water. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a level from about there. So I've just right clicked on that to give me a level, and then I'm going to bring this around here and just raise up the riverbank. There we go. So that isn't doing that anymore. Excellent. And since we've done that, we can now kind of level this off across here. All right, so that it's all nice and consistent. And you can see that now that this has settled down a bit, that's looking okay. And we can do the same thing with leveling this off now. So this can be leveled off across to there. And this can be leveled off into there. Looking good. A little bit more there. There we go. Yep, looking good. A little bit. Needs to be just flattened a little bit there. There we go. Cool. So we've got those done. We've got a little lump here. Doesn't matter. It's off the playable area. Don't care. Let's go up here. Oh, now, oh, look. We've got the Serpentine here. This is just a little lake. This is where they did the triathlon swimming in the Olympics. Pretty sure. Yeah, Hyde Park's Serpentine. Yeah. So we'll go to water again. And now this time I'm going to take a much lower capacity. And we're going to put this in. And yeah, looks good. And we'll see that settle down. And we'll see if it settles down and isn't flooding. If it's flooding, then we'll reduce the capacity even more. But I think that's going to be about right. Yeah, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. You can see the river's almost filled in now. It's still trotting down here. Right. Got some stuff to do up here. This is the Lee Valley. And it's the River Lee flows down here. And the River Lee actually flows all the way down here. And if I bring up the map, let's show you. Oh, what the hell? Let's bring up the map. You can see the River Lee. Now, where's the River Lee? This is the River Lee. Leamouth. There you go. So the River Lee flows actually down here and goes in here. Now, am I going to put that in? I don't like. I still haven't decided whether I want to put the River Lee in. I mean, we could. We could. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It might be like a bit of an interference with the roads and whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Okay, right. Let's get drop the map down again below the level of the water. There we go. Cool. Right now, I've linked all of these reservoirs together. Because it just kind of makes sense to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in a water spawner. Now the question is, where do I put my water spawner in? And I may end up putting a couple in. So what I might do, I might put in one here for this area. And another one here for this area. There we go. Right. Let's see how that does. And I think that should produce a fairly nice effect. And obviously we can put some water pumps around here if we wanted to. And you can see how it starts producing water. Then if it's producing too much water, it'll actually act as a drain and start to take water away until it settles down at a level. And then if you put water pumps on here and start pumping water out, the water spawners will increase their spawning of water to maintain that level. Right, and this is going to take a little while to settle down, so we'll let that get on with that. Right, now we can work on the river, because we're going to have to do some work on the river. This is nice over here. I do need to connect this so that this little one will fill up, because you can see that it's kind of a little bit low now that we've isolated it. So we'll take, what do I want? I want my raise lower tool, and I'm just going to create, I'm not going to take this all the way down, I'm just going to right click on this to just create like a little bit more, there we go, just so that the water can flow in there. Lovely. Excellent stuff. Liking it. That works nicely. Cool, cool, cool. Right. Let's go over here and look at the height of the river in relation to the riverbanks, right? And you can see that this like black, grey, dark grey area is quite exposed here, right? Whereas if we go back up to where we put the original water spawner in, up here, you can see that there's not very much of it, right? Now there's a couple of ways that you can approach this to kind of resolve this, and it kind of depends on what you want to do. It's your map, do it the way you want to do it. Now the first way of doing it is to take your softening tool, right? Set your brush strength pretty high, probably around 1,000, so that it covers both sides of your river. Obviously, if you've got a bigger river, you'll need a bigger brush. Set your brush strength down to probably 4 or 5, because you want to be able to do this very slowly. Okay, so I want this to look like, you know, just green fields going to the edge of the river. So I'm just going to run that over just once, and you can see that that's now softened those banks so that we don't have that hard edge. Let's rotate this a little bit. I'll try and get the tool out of the way for you. All right, so you can see now that we've got rid of that hard edge there, and we can carry on doing that. Like, you know what, I'm going to drop the brush strength just a little bit more, probably to like 3, and then just run it across here, and let's see what that does. Yeah, looking good, looking good. And we'll do the same here. There we go. Now this is off the playable area, so this kind of doesn't matter too much. But where we get onto the playing area, it's gonna matter a whole hell of a lot. So let's soften that around there, and a little bit more there. Cool. And how does that look? Oh, that's looking quite nice. That is looking quite nice. But you can see that even though I've softened this, the water level isn't as high as it is where we started. So if I go back over here, you can see that the water level, it's coming right up. Let's get rid of this damn brush. It's driving me crazy. You can see that the water level here is coming right up to the green. You virtually can't see any grey anywhere. Whereas if we go over here, you can see that there's quite a visible grey area, even though we've softened it. And that's because as you go along, right, the river's going to be getting wider, but also you just don't get a consistent flow of water. You would expect the capacity of the water to be the same all the way along, but it just doesn't work out like that. So what you need to do is put in additional water spawners to kind of top up the water. So I'm going to put in other water spawners, but I'm just going to put them in at like 10% capacity. Okay, so we're going to put another water spawner in here, like just off the map, and I'm going to put it in probably about here. And I want this to be central in the water. So there we go, just plop that in. Now fortunately I don't have to adjust the height, because the height of these is exactly right for this map. But otherwise you just click and hold and just move this up with the handle. So how are we doing? Oh look, just adding that extra little bit of water in has brought our river level up to exactly where we want it. And look at that, it looks nice all the way along. Nice green edge all the way along. Right, cool. So let's go further up the river. What about up here? Now remember, it is going to take a little bit of time for the water level to catch up, right? But you can quite clearly see that the water level here is like way down on what it was. So again, we'll put in another one of those water spawners. Now where I can, I'm going to put them in kind of off the map, because I think it works better. But to be honest, it don't really matter. Now what you'll see when I put that in, you'll just see it producing a little bit more water, and this water level's just going to rise. You can see it. You can see that water level rising all around there. And it kind of, the extra water kind of backs up until it reaches a level, and then it kind of just carries on flowing down. Looking good. But these banks over here probably need a little bit more softening. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a little bit more softening. Softening tool, and I've got it very, very soft. I'm just going to soften this around there like that. There we go. And now we've got our nice green edges with the water just gently lapping along them. Lovely. Right, go a bit further. How are we doing over here? This we can probably solve with just a little bit of smoothing. There we go. Now, when I smooth like that, it's also going to raise the riverbed slightly, which is also going to reduce the capacity of the river, and therefore the water level will rise. Okay, I think I'm reasonably happy with that level there. We can come around here. We can do a little bit of softening on that section. And you can see it raises the river level and softens the banks. Not too bad, not too bad. Let's do a little bit more around there. Yeah, a bit more around there. Not too bad. I'm going to soften this section around here as well. There we go. How's it looking? Not too bad. But I think we need a little bit more water. It's kind of sort of okay coming around here, but you can see the water levels continually dropping the further it goes along. So we're going to keep topping it up. So take another water spawner, and like where you think, yeah, there's kind of not enough water there, just bang in another one. So you know what, let's bang another one in there. There we go. And that's just going to top that water level up and make sure that we stay at that consistent level that we want, and make sure that we've got these really nice looking banks. Cool, isn't it? The water dynamics in this game are absolutely awesome. You can see our river level rising as it goes around here. Now, the other nice thing about putting in additional water spawners is when you've got a long river like this, that's a long, narrow river that's winding across the map, when you first go into the map, it's going to take ages for the water. If you've only got one water spawner, it's going to take ages for the water to get right across to the other end of the map, which is kind of not a good thing. So adding additional water spawners means that the water's going to fill up in your river a lot quicker. It's going to look better. Right, so happy with this. Let's carry on moving along the river. And you can see, you know, we're already the river level is dropping when we get down here. So you know what? Let's pop in another spawner there and see what that does. And immediately it just brings the river back up to that level that we want. Awesome. And yeah, like, am I taking like quite a lot of time and attention over this? Hell yeah, because I want you guys, like, for the people that want to play on this, I want you guys to have a really awesome map to play on, right? And plus the fact I have ADD, and that's the real reason. So I'm just going to soften these banks a little bit like that. I thought these banks were already pretty soft, but they definitely do need a little bit more softening than I had given them up until this point. So let's soften that along there. We'll do the whole thing. Like let's just do the whole thing. Stop messing around, and we'll do a little bit on there as well. That area doesn't matter so much, but cool. All right. So where were we? We were back here, and see we've got this. I mean, I think that is kind of perfect. I think that is kind of perfect. We can get rid of this softening. We don't need that anymore. I think that's absolutely bang on. Right. Go a little bit further down the river, and you can see the river level's dropping again. Right. So we'll bang in another water spawner. So we'll pop in a water spawner. Yeah, am I going to do it on... You know what? I think I'm probably going to do it here. And the great thing is, when you pop in a water spawner, it'll help, because you're adding water into the river at this point, it backs up. So let me show you. Let me put this one in, and then I'll try and show you how it backs up. So if you watch this water, you'll see it filling up, coming backwards up the river, as the water that's being introduced here runs into the water here. And you just get that perfect level that you want. It's kind of, I think this is a really nice way to do it. You just get these Really nice edges. And it'll get to a point where it kind of meets the original water, and then the spawners will just level it out, and then it ends up just being bang on. I tell you guys, this for me is as fun as building in the game. It really is. You got to try this out. It's freaking awesome. And as you can see, like, the water level's dropping all the way through here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to put another water spawner in here and see if that, about there, and then see how that does it. Does it give me enough water to fill in like the whole thing? And I'm thinking I'm going to need another one up, kind of up here, but we'll kind of see. You can see it's not introducing enough water to solve the problem. So what I can do down here, because remember the river's getting pretty wide down here, we can go to the water. I can take this one out, right? So just right click on it to get rid of it. I can increase my water capacity. I'm going to crank this up to like 20. So that's double the amount of water coming into the river. There we go. Pop the spawner back in and see. And you can see it's quite a dramatic effect having that extra water. And now it's starting to back up and come up to pretty much the level that we want. And that's going to, here you can see it backing up, backing up. You can watch it coming along the... I love doing this. I must be sad, but good Lord, this is fun. Here we go. It's backing up all around here. And that's going to get us up to absolutely bang on where we want to be. Awesome. Is it going to... Yeah, it's still coming round, see? And that's going to level up all around here. Awesome. Now, when we get to this end, where the water is like really pouring off the map here, right, you can see it's really dropped the level. But that's kind of okay. I don't mind having a bit more of a bank here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take one of these. I'm going to drop it down to kind of like 15, I think. And then we'll pop one in kind of there. There we go. And we'll see how that looks. And that'll do the same thing. That'll back up and fill all that in nicely. And how is it handling this drop off here? And it looks like it's doing kind of sort of okay. Yep. Yeah. That's nice. Right, so there we go. Now we have our river. And if we zoom in, how are we doing down here? Yeah, see, this is just overlapping here. We need to do a little bit more work on this. So we'll take our level tool and take the smallest brush. God, I'm fiddly, aren't I? Well, doesn't matter about the brush strength. Right, take a level from there and then bring that level across here. There we go. I probably want to make that a little bit wider. There we go. Right. Now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Right, any more bits of water then? Oh, look, another one down there. Cool. Love it. I want to do... You know what I thought when I was doing this? I had the coolest idea. How about doing a map of Niagara Falls? How freaking cool would that be? I am going to do that. Right, so we want one in here. What's 15? I want a bit more water than that, probably. Yeah, 15. That's okay. Let's pop that in there. There we go. Doesn't need a huge amount of water. Only a little lake. I doubt we're going to be putting a lot of stuff on there. I'm thinking actually over here that we may want to increase this one because we may want to use this for water pumps. So I'm thinking to maybe have a higher capacity water spawner in here. I think that would probably be a fairly good idea. So why don't we right click, get rid of this one, and let's put another one in with higher capacity in case people want to use this for water pumps. So we'll put it in at like 40, which is going to provide quite a bit of water capacity. Excellent. It's a little bit rough around this area here. We can probably smooth that off if we want. But there again, you know, this is a reservoir. You know, should this have harder edges? You know, and if it's a British reservoir, then it should be about half empty. because we're in permanent drought. You know what? The other thing I can do is, of course, drop this down a little bit if I want. So just drop that down a little bit like that. Just left click and hold. And then I think for a reservoir, that's probably a good idea. I have to have the slightly harder edges that you tend to have it on a reservoir. Cool, right, so looking good, looking good. I've got to say I'm really, really pleased with this. But we're not done. Oh no. Because remember I was talking about like the Albert Bridge. Now which one's the Albert Bridge? I think it's this one, but it kind of doesn't matter. The point is, I wanted to be able to get a 2-span bridge across here. Now if I go to highways and I try and put a bridge across here, right? Yeah, I can only get 1 span in, right? But I don't really want to make the river too much wider. Well, here's a little trick. If you run into this problem yourself, here's a little trick which can help you out. So I'm going to take the shift tool, and I'm going to use a small brush, and brush strength 10. That's fine, right? Now I know where my bridge should be because I've got my trees, right? What I'm going to do, I'm just going to carve out on either side a little bit of river, right? Now I'm going to just even that out on either side. So it's easier to do this top down. So from here, just carve that out there. I'm going to soften this afterwards, so it's okay. And there, and then there, and there. Right, cool. So we've made this a little bit wider. Now, if you mess it up, you can always Control Z to undo it, or you can use your level tool, right? Take a level, right click, and then just left click and hold, and like fill it in, right? So you don't have to be too worried about it. There we go. Right. Now, the bridge, will it work? So now if I put a bridge across here, 1 span, 2 span, I can get a 2-span bridge in. And you can see that, like, depending on exactly how you place it, right, you'll get the spans, like, in different places, right? And that is the effect that I want. Like, if I put the Albert Bridge in, I want a 2-span bridge. So there we go. Boom, done. Right, so that's that problem solved. So what I can now do is go along to all my bridge points, right, and just do that little thing of widening the river at the bridge points to get the nice, slightly bigger effect of the bridges. And it's kind of a good little trick if you've got a relatively small river to be able to put those bigger bridges in. Right, and we've got to have this is Tower Bridge over here, and we're definitely going to want that kind of thing. So we probably want to make this a little bit wider through here. But you know what? I'm going to do that offline because it's going to be a lot of tinkering, and I don't think it makes for an interesting time lapse. Right, let's talk before we end this about highway connections. Oh yeah, so over here we've got the M4, the wonderful M4 that comes in from the west of England into the middle of town. And there's actually an elevated section here, and it's kind of a shame that the elevated section's outside the buildable area, because it would be really nice to have the elevated highway. But digressing, shut up. Right, so we're going to zoom in fairly close, and now this is just like bog standard road building, right? So I want the freeform tool. Now what I'm going to try and do is leave the trees in the middle, right? And you're probably thinking, why the hell would you want to leave the trees in the middle? Well, first of all, I think it provides you with a kind of a nice guide. So what I'm trying to do is like just clip the edge of each tree, and this turns into a good tip, trust me. So like bear with me while I just put like a bit of this in. And just kind of, I wonder if the highway is actually like as bendy as this, or whether it's just the way I've put the trees in. I'm thinking it's the way I've put the trees in. I can't believe that Well, actually, knowing the way we build roads, it probably is like that, but I think I'm going to straighten it out just maybe a little bit. I'll bring it around here, and down here, and across here. And we do a little bit more. And then I'll show you what the tip is. Promise. God, I've missed building roads. Feels nice to have a road tool in my hand again. Right, let's go. That sounded wrong. Yeah, come on. I got to admit, the freeform tool does tend to make roads a bit windy. Tends to kind of overemphasize the curves, but yeah, it's what it is. It's okay. Oh, bit too close to that tree. I wiped out a tree. Tree killer, tree murderer. Right, let's run around here, around here. Okay, you know what? That's enough. We're almost to the edge. But the point is the trick that I wanted to show you. Now, hang on a second. Now I've got to get these roads going the right way, haven't I? Now this is London, where we're driving on the left-hand side of the road. Oh yes, none of this right side nonsense. So yeah, we're going to be coming in on this side and going off on this side. Now, what I want is to have my highway going off like this. Now, I think I can be a little bit closer than that. I hope I can be a little bit closer than that. Yeah, I can keep my trees. Oh, killed that one tree. Let's see if I can put that tree back in. I marked these with these wild conifers, didn't I? Yeah, I could still put my trees in. Now, putting the trees down the middle, first of all, I think is quite a cool thing. But it also means that when you, if you want to realign your map for any reason, that you'll still be able to see the trees sticking through. So I think that is quite a good tip. So there you go. That's now it is literally just a case of going around and putting in the highway connections. What I might do is for the next episode, maybe I'll start you off with a time lapse of me putting in all of these. But I want to get this video out tonight, so I'm not going to put that time lapse in now. I'll do this overnight and edit the video together. So you should have that tomorrow. All right, guys, let's leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this. And seriously, play around with rivers and water spawners and waterfalls and all kinds of stuff. Let your creative mind go wild. It's enormous fun. It really is. That's it. I'll catch you for the next one. Peace out.